So, the other day I mentioned the Dylan Roof situation and how Dylan Roof's massacre of innocent church-going African American folks, and it's not because they're African American. If these were any people, this is the thing. Like, people don't understand. It's not about race. It's about justice. People may consider me to be a white nationalist or things of that nature because I'm racially conscious. Being racially conscious doesn't mean that you're a monster, okay? And I think that's the problem that people have, is even some that are racially conscious, they adopt this Hollywood idea of what it means to be racially conscious. To me, being racially conscious simply means accepting the fact that race is a biological reality. I don't necessarily believe anybody is superior to anybody else or inferior to anybody else. I believe that I believe people should be judged individually, regardless of what statistics show. Meaning, regardless of what the group statistics show with IQ or delayed gratification, things like that, I still believe that everyone should be judged as an individual. Dylan Roof was not a good individual. So, I didn't know this, but apparently a federal judge upheld the execution of Dylan Roof. And I don't want to say I'm pleased. Like I said in my previous video, the Dylan Roof situation came extremely close to getting me. I am ardently anti-death penalty. And I'll explain why in a second. Became very close to getting me to state that I was, that I would like to see him executed for what he did. Because it was just so abhorrent what he did. He attended Bible study at an African American Methodist Episcopal Church. I think I got the order of that right. And then systematically murdered these individuals after attending Bible study for some time. And these were not vicious people. They welcomed him into their church. He attended Bible study there. Essentially, Dylan Roof was an animal, but he was not an animal. He was an emotionally disturbed individual, and people might go, well, why didn't they take his mental illness into consideration? The problem with taking mental illness into consideration in every situation is sometimes the mental illness is not a contributing factor. Did Mr. Roof understand the wrongness of his actions? I would assume so. I don't know so, but I would assume so. Okay? And that's the important factor there. Did the judge ignore his mental illness? That I don't know. I do not support the execution of Dylan Roof. Far from it. I don't support the execution of anybody. As I have stated, I am ardently anti-death penalty. Now, what the situation was with Dylan Roof is he went to the Council of Conservative Citizens website and he discovered the truth of black on white crime. And this upset him, and he, being an emotionally disturbed individual, premeditated. Now, mind you, that was a premeditated murder, which makes the whole, oh, I'm mentally ill thing, kind of makes it, kind of punches a bunch of holes in that, because he premeditated this shit. He goes to the church, he attends Bible study. This is all premeditation. He was planning to do this. Okay? Now, some people might blame the Council of Conservative Citizens, or might blame Jared Taylor, who came out as the representative of the Council of Conservative Citizens. Jared Taylor is the founder of the New Century Foundation and American Renaissance. But it's not Jared Taylor's fault or the Council of Conservative Citizens that the facts are the facts regarding racial violence or cross-racial violence. Obviously, the most abundant victims of black violence are black Americans, which was why I said that the real people that got the real short end of the stick on the First Step Act were not necessarily white Americans, although they did, but actually it's the African American communities that are going to have to deal with having these newly released criminals in their communities, as well as the Chicano communities and things like that. But predominantly the people that will really suffer from Trump's First Step Act and letting these criminals out of prison are the African American communities in the United States that will have to then deal with these things, which will of course cause an uptick in violent crime in these neighborhoods. But what you need to understand with the cross-racial violence, and I'm going to leave links in the description to show it, you have people like Cannon Hinnant, and I had to write this down, I got to make sure I pronounce this right. Cannon Hinnant was, of course, the 6-year-old that was murdered by being shot at point-blank range by a black perpetrator. Okay? Remember that name. Say his name, as they say. Cannon Hinnant. Okay, he was shot in the head at point-blank range, killing him. Okay? And then you have this young boy, this young autistic boy, another 6-year-old autistic boy in Louisiana, that his father was in a relationship with one of the officers that actually killed him. And what you see there is his name is Jeremy. I cannot pronounce this. I do not speak the French, but it looks like Mardi. It's Mardis. Mardi, I believe is how it might be Mardis. I don't know, but it looks like Mardi. But he was murdered by 2 black state troopers in Louisiana. You will see links to, for example, links to other situations like this in the description. Now, who do you think's more innocent? Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, or Jeremy Mardi, a autistic 6-year-old that couldn't have harmed anybody. He was too young to have harmed anybody, and he suffered most likely from a severe, he suffered from autism. I highly doubt he was confrontational or anything of that nature. He was probably very introverted, but this is a young boy, a 6-year-old boy that was murdered by 2 black state police officers. Again, who's more innocent? George Floyd or Jeremy Mardi? George Floyd, of course, had a criminal history, and this young Jeremy Mardi, I don't think he was quite old enough to have a criminal history. And there was some kind of disagreement between the father. They said they were serving a warrant on him or something, which even if that were true, and this is the thing, these things do not get broadcast, so the dude is trying to escape. I don't believe he committed a felony. Now, I went to school for criminal justice, okay? Now, if this dude didn't murder somebody, okay, or wasn't, if he wasn't wanted for murder and he's fleeing, these 2 police officers, as far as I know, do not have the legal right to riddle a car with bullets to the point where they injure the father of Jeremy Mardi and completely blow the shit out of Jeremy Mardi to the point where his corpse was blown to bits. It was unrecognizable. Okay? Now, let's see, is that considered, you don't see these being broadcast by the media like you do the George Floyd issue or the Trayvon Martin situation or other situations. Other ones are the Christian and Newsom murders, which I will leave links to, where I think it was Tennessee, a young man and a young woman were both, they raped the man too. They had repeatedly raped and sodomized the woman and the man, and they had cut the man's penis off and set him on fire, okay? And the young woman, they repeatedly raped and beat her and let her suffocate in trash bags. This is another incident of cross-racial violence, of black-on-white violence. but you don't see this broadcast by the news media. And as I said, Dylan Roof is a freaking animal. But what are these people? And why aren't you seeing this broadcast by the media? Why isn't the media explaining this is reality? Because this is what made Dylan Roof lose his ever-loving mind. Okay? The dude was emotionally disturbed. Plain and simple. Dude was emotionally disturbed. Dude goes to Council of Conservative Citizens website. Dude sees truth about black-on-white violence. Dude loses his mind. Dude premeditates a horrible, unforgivable murder of innocent people that did nothing to him or anyone else. Okay? Dude murders these people. Dude goes to prison. Dude gets death penalty. Dude appeals death penalty. Death penalty upheld. Justice was served. Was justice served in these other cases? We wouldn't know because the media doesn't tell us. The media does not make as big a deal about these other situations that are clearly even more atrocious, if not equally atrocious, if not more atrocious. But as I stated with the whole Dylan Roof thing, I don't want to say I'm pleased that they upheld the death penalty, because I'm not. I am pleased that justice is being served, although I think justice would be better served with a life prison sentence. That's my personal opinion. I think the death penalty should be repealed in the United States. I do not think a civilized country like the United States should have the death penalty. And I am consistent. Even an animal like Dylan Roof, or any of these other animals I mentioned, I do not believe should receive the death penalty. Okay? So, my point being is, this is, what drove Dylan Roof over the edge, although I think he was probably a little over the edge anyway. I mean, I go to these websites and you don't see me acting like a frickin' lunatic. Okay? But the fact of the matter is that what Dylan Roof's stepmother called internet evil is actually the truth. And more truth, more light needs to be shed on the dishonesty of the media and the dishonesty of how the media covers cross-racial violence. It's completely absurd, okay? And it's a very sad situation. And that's all for this video. Follow the links in the description. Please follow the links in the description. Please enlighten yourself to the reality of cross-racial violence in this country. And no, I think that Dylan Roof, I think that life in prison would have been a better thing, but I am very happy in the sense that justice is being served. Do we know if justice is being served in these other situations? Because if you believe that Dylan Roof deserved the death penalty for what Dylan Roof did, remember, I am consistently anti-death penalty. If you believe Dylan Roof deserved the death penalty for what Dylan Roof did, you must also agree that all these other people deserve the death penalty for the horrible atrocities they have committed. In the reverse, I mean, it's cross-racial the other way. And that's all for this video.